Today, I want to talk about the designer fragrances that I am really excited to pull out and wear for this fall season. So as the weather begins to cool down, I want something that is cozy, that feels warm and inviting, potentially comforting, or just a little hint of sexiness or spiciness in there. Yay! I can't wait to share. But before I get started, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and hit that button. Join the Weird and Wonderful family. It would be amazing to have you part of the community, and let's get into this. Okay, I'm going to start with a no-brainer. Now, this fragrance is one, actually a lot of these are ones that I've had in my collection for a while. I found that since I started to kind of branch into niche and Middle Eastern, I've kind of forgotten about the designers to a certain extent. I think part of it is after a while, lots of them end up smelling kind of the same. I just have backed off from purchasing them, but these are ones that I just really, really love. Actually, I could have picked a whole lot more than this, but I wanted to bring these to you, and some of them are kind of forgotten, but I just think they're so fantastic. The first one is Mon Guerlain. Now, I'd probably choose Mon Guerlain Intense. I have a big sample of that one. That'll be probably the one that I use more because it's a little bit more vanillic. But this is the bottle that I have. Seriously, when I smell this, I feel like weeping almost. I don't know what it is about this other than the fact that it makes me think of being a mom. And I love lavender. So this has lavender in it. There's some florals. It's really quite sweet. There is that vanilla component, but this feels so classy. It's somehow comforting to me, and I love the lavender in here. Now, I think it's kind of neat because lavender has had a little bit of a moment over the past few years with fragrances like Mon Guerlain, with YSL's Libre line, like that has the lavender. Lyra has a lavender note, although I don't really notice it in that. So really, really do enjoy this. It's just easy to wear. You get about 6 hours out of it. It smells elegant, sophisticated, and uber feminine, and I just love it. In fact, I think I'm going to wear it today. The next fragrance that I am so excited to wear for the fall is Azzaro's Wanted Girl. This fragrance has a little bit of a lactonic vibe because of the Dolce de Leche that's in here, but this also has orange blossom. There's some ginger in here. There's tonka. There's some pink pepper. There's some pomegranate in here. So there's a little bit of fruitiness, but really what I'm getting is that orange blossom, the ginger, and the Dulce de Leche. There's also like the datura flower, so there is a floral component to this. But this is just sweet but warm because of that ginger that's in there. So it's just really feminine. It's kind of intoxicating, a little bit addictive. This is really, really quite warm. So technically it could be worn all year round, but I really, really like it for the fall and the winter because it kind of smells a little bit cozy. So absolutely love this one. And nobody talks about this one anymore. The other thing I love is the container. Now, lots of people, like I don't normally like kitschy bottles, but this is technically like it's supposed to look like a little grenade, but this is also a little flower bud. So I don't know, I kind of just like it. And it sits kind of on a weird angle, but it's not too obnoxious. So for whatever reason, I like the packaging. Now for a yummy, cozy, gourmand fragrance, I want to wear Girl of Now by Elie Saab. This is a lot of orange blossom. People always talk about it being a pistachio fragrance, and look at that bottle. Like, I just love this bottle. So people talk about it being a pistachio fragrance, and there is pistachio in here, but there's also a lot of almond in here along with that orange blossom. Now there is a pear note in here in some orange, but I get mainly orange blossom, a little hint of fruitiness along with that almond. It smells sweet, almost syrupy. So this one feels really, really cozy. It is very sweet, but there's something that's very comforting about this fragrance. And although it's got the pistachio and the almond and it's very sweet, I don't actually consider this overly gourmand because it honestly feels a little bit more floral to me because it has that major floral component. But I just think that this one is a delicious fragrance and really quite easy to wear. Now, one that is a little bit newer is Burberry Goddess. This one is another one that you could wear all year round, but I especially love pulling this out in the fall. I love the lavender and the vanilla combo in this. What makes this feel even more special, in my opinion, is the fact that there's a little bit of cacao and a little bit of ginger. So I do notice that little bit of a spicy kick that comes with this, along with that lavender and lots of vanilla. So although this is a vanilla fragrance, it's not too sweet because of the tempering of that ginger and that lavender. So really enjoy this one. Although it's technically more gourmand, it feels like you could wear this as a signature fragrance, no problem. But I really love it. If I want something cozy and comforting again, this is one I'm gonna reach for. Here in Alberta, it tends to get quite cold. It's not yet. But one of my favorite roses for the cooler months is Elie Saab Le Parfum Royal. This is such a beautiful spiced rose. It's quite strong. There is quite a lot of patchouli in here, and the patchouli for me registers as more of a spiciness to this than anything. This also has a bit of orange on the top. It's not a super sweet orange. It's more of an orange peel to me. And I just think it smells delectable. So really enjoy this one. When I smell this, I always think of a queen, like a warrior queen that's going out to battle. And I don't know why, but I always think like the night before she's got this fragrance and she's leaving this intoxicating trail, and she's eating kumquats in her rose garden, and then she takes the rose petals and the kumquats and she kind of makes this delicious concoction with some oil and puts it in a bath, and then she gets ready and she puts on her battle regalia, and she's got her tigers on either side, and she heads into battle with her leather warrior gear on, and she just wipes them off with whoever she's fighting. And she just looks majestic, and she smells majestic. She doesn't smell like her tigers. She smells delectable, like a strong warrior woman. That's this fragrance. And when I put it on, I feel like the warrior queen. Like seriously, it's beautiful. But you gotta like patchouli and woods because it's pretty strong. The next fragrance that I think is honestly perfect for fall, that I literally don't ever hear anyone talk about anymore, is the only one by Dolce and Gabbana. I have a small mini bottle. I didn't bother picking it up, but this was gifted to me from my friend, and her bottle broke, so she put it in this other bottle. So it doesn't look like the only one, but it is the only one. Now this would be what I would consider a bit of a floral gourmand because it's got some floral notes in it. There's violet, orange blossom, rose, and iris in here. So lots of florals, a little bit of powderiness in here, but it also has orange, coffee, and caramel, along with some vanilla and patchouli. The coffee and the caramel just adds this beautiful warmth to the florals, and I really enjoy this fragrance. It's warm and sensual and would work as a date night fragrance, but I personally think that you can wear it during the day as well, and it's just going to smell warm and sensual, which in the fall, I kind of like that. And this one's the most expensive, I think, out of this collection, and it is part of the kind of fancier line of Guerlain, and it's called Santal Royal. And this fragrance is the most beautiful, spicy rose fragrance that there is. It smells so opulent and sophisticated. This smells like total luxury. This is the Santal Royal that is part of the Les Absolus d'Orient collection. For florals, there's jasmine, neroli, and rose, but I get the rose. There's some cinnamon. There's loads of sandalwood in here. There's some oud, amber, musk. There's also some peach in here. But what it comes across as is an oudy rose. So it smells like those typical oudy rose fragrances with a good dose of spice and sandalwood. I just think that this is magnificent. If you want to smell like old money bouginess, this is the fragrance. And to me, it's super cozy. This falls into the same category, I would say, as something like an oud bouquet or a Kahila Luxe. So kind of in that same genre. My favorite version of this type of DNA would be Untamed Perfumes Blackbird. But as far as a designer fragrance is concerned, this is seriously so opulent, so luxurious smelling, so sophisticated and elegant. And this is one of the fragrances that I always think of like a New York brownstone and you're going to some elegant dinner with the who's of the who's will be there, and somehow you manage to become one of the who's. And so you're going to this party and you smell like this. You've got a luxurious dress with big, huge silk roses on it. I know that doesn't sound too like it's couture. Like you're wearing couture silk taffeta ball gown skirt with a silk kind of blouse thing on, and your guy has a tuxedo on, and maybe he smells like this because it's so freaking good. You both just walk in and everyone's breath, because you guys look so beautiful and you smell beautiful and you smell like you own the place, and you kind of do. Like that is this fragrance. It's so, so good. So you can't go wrong with this. You have to like those oudy rose fragrances to like this. I just think it's a masterpiece, honestly. Now, I'm so excited to pull this one out. This is a hand-me-down fragrance from my wonderful friend Lori, and it is Poison Girl by Dior. It's so syrupy sweet with this gorgeous almond vibe in here. This is my favorite out of the Poison line for sure. And yeah, it's so, so sweet. There's some orange and some citrus in the opening, which kind of helps to temper the sweetness of that almond. And the almond smells almost like an almond paste, like where it's really, really, really sweet. This has rose and orange blossom in it. I would say I get more orange blossom as far as florals are concerned. This has tonka and heliotrope and a little bit of balsam, some cashmere, sandalwood, and of course a heavy dose of vanilla. But to me, the star player of this would be the almond, the orange blossom, the vanilla, and the orange. And it smells really quite decadent. This one is definitely more fruity than this one. This one is more nutty, and this one is almond. Like this one's nutty, so you get the almond and the pistachio. This one is almond, but with that added orange. I find this one to be almost a little bit more wearable, but this one's way, way sweet, like way more sweet than even this, and this is very sweet. So super saccharine, but I love it, and especially when it's kind of cold outside, having something like this is fantastic. Now this next one is a fragrance that I like. I literally love this fragrance, and it is La Nuit Tresor by Lancome. This is such a great, great, great fragrance. Like it's one of my favorites from Lancome, and I love a lot of Lancome fragrances, but this one, it's just so beautiful. It's decadent, it's rich, it's sweet, it's intoxicating, and totally addictive. So there's lots of fruit in here. There's definitely rose. The main note would be strawberry, but somehow it comes across blackberry to me. There's caramel, there's praline in here, there's some coffee, there's licorice. I don't really get the licorice. There's some incense in here. There's a big dose of coumarin, and coumarin is very, very sweet. Like it smells almost like cotton candy. So this is actually a gourmand, but with those florals, with that rose in there. I just love this one. It smells decadent and, like I said, uber intoxicating. This is a great date night fragrance, and I always get excited about the cooler months, so I can pull this one out. And the last fragrance, this is uber oldie but goodie, and this is Hot Couture. This is the Eau de Parfum. A lot of times people prefer the Eau de Toilette, I think because it has a little less of the cigarette vibe in here. But this fragrance is so freaking good in cooler weather. I just think it's spectacular. This has raspberry as kind of the star fruit note. definitely that's the one that I notice the most. There's also pepper in here and vetiver. There's some magnolia in here, and then there's sandalwood, amber, and musk in the base. It does smell floral, so even though there's only magnolia in there, and I've never smelt magnolia, so I don't know what it smells like, but there is that delicious kind of floral raspberry. I get the vetiver. It feels a little bit dry. There's a bit of a cigarette vibe to this, but it just smells so good. That raspberry note in here is one of the best raspberry notes ever. Another one that's fantastic that has raspberry is Because of You by Armani. That's actually one I really want in my collection, and I actually think it's discontinued. But seriously, that's kind of a fall must-have. It's the best raspberry syrupy fragrance that I know of, but Hot Couture is gorgeous. My sister has the EDT, and whenever she wears it, literally every single solitary time, I always notice that fragrance. I'll go, what are you wearing? Because it smells so good. So really enjoy this one. It smells a little bit vintagey in a way. So this one smells to me like a proper perfume. And by that, I mean, it doesn't feel like a gourmand. It doesn't smell like a fruity floral. It smells like a perfume. It smells like a grown woman perfume. And sometimes you just want a fragrance that smells a little bit like what I imagine Cruella de Vil smelled like a little bit of cigarettes, because she's always smoking, darling, and she's trying to get those puppies, and she smells like raspberries and sweeties. Maybe she's a little bit of the Ice Queen from Narnia as well, but a little bit of ash. For whatever reason, this one, more so than the EDT. The EDP has a little bit of a cigarette vibe that I love. Like, I love a little bit of a cigarette vibe. I can't help myself. I'm not sure why, but I have quite a few fragrances with that little bit of cigarette. I don't know why, but I love that little tinge of an ashy smell to fragrances. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I associate it with sexy, if I associate it with naughty, if I associate it with something from my childhood. Like, I wasn't in a family of smokers at all. But yeah, I just kind of love it. So this one, I'd say this is the one I'm most excited to wear for the fall, being wrapped up in some warm, cozy scarf with boots on, crunching through the leaves, smelling like Cruella de Vil. Like, it doesn't get any better. So love this one. What about you? Do you have some favorite fall designer fragrances that you're excited about? If so, leave it in the comments. And other than that, have an amazing week. We'll talk to you soon.